What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Let's Play Hearts of Iron 4 with our Japanese playthrough. It looks like we are obviously faring very, very well against both the Dominion of Canada and the United States. We obviously have a massive amount of artillery, but we've stopped producing artillery in general. So obviously this number will never go up, it will obviously continually go down. Our motorized rocket artillery are doing very, very well as, we are producing more than we are currently using. And finally, we obviously are about to have a massive amount of infantry equipment going from around 30, we were missing around 60 days of a shortage, and now we're only down to around a 5-day shortage. Looks like we've completed elastic defense as well, giving us better land doctrines, more organization, more maximum speed, and better reinforcement rate. We now find ourselves at a crossroads for our mobile warfare doctrines. Obviously, I switched over from Grand Battle Plan all the way to mobile warfare because I obviously want to be building up our mechanized, I want to be building up our heavy tanks, rather than just having a bunch of infantry bonuses. I figured our best bet would be to build up into the Blitzkrieg focus tree. Now, we could go into mobile infantry, but my biggest issue is I'm running low on infantry. I am now at the all adults must serve conscription bonus, and I think getting better tanks, giving them better breakthrough, and additional organization would be our #1 priority. Looking at our research slots, 9 days until we finally have our new heavy tank, and then we are going to be building our modern tanks, which are going to require less steel, but unfortunately more chromium, which we do have quite a surplus. We have 300. All of these light tanks are going to be switched to modern. I do want to build some jet tactical bombers, but unfortunately it seems like we lack quite a bit of factories. But I believe once we obviously take over most of the US, we are going to go, let's go with the Mach 1. This isn't even the Mach 1 either. Now, once we take over more of the US, we are going to switch over to modern tanks, because we should have such a massive surplus of motorized that I don't think it's going to be an issue. We actually have 221 steel, so we could even switch over now. Or better yet, we could create some light cruisers. We almost have enough. We have 137 steel. Might as well create something, maybe even a better carrier. And maybe even 2. While we're building them, at least. This is the level... That is not a carrier, that is a cruiser. And here we are, looking at the Taiho class carrier level 4. And I guess we might as well use up all of our Navy experience, get the biggest deck space possible, and I'm guessing some additional armor because we don't want to die or lose them at all. Engine size doesn't necessarily matter, as long as we have additional deck size. Wow, 127 plus 21. I wonder if that changes. Yep, all the way to 127, so it's not plus 21. And let's go ahead and save. You will now be the Taiho class Mach 1. And you will be the Taiho class Mach 1 as well. Both of you will only be constructed once, but the idea is to obviously gain some superiority in these regions. This is going to be constructed on the 30th of March, 1946. That's actually a long ways away. But as long as I guess we can create those sooner rather than later, I think we'll be good to go. But we're now out of steel. But as we continue to cross the US and maybe even make our way into Wisconsin, there is 84 steel here. So that's going to be very, very useful. We have no national focus. We have free dockyards. Not going to worry about that. Unread naval combat. It says I have unassigned divisions, which I don't really want to worry about at all. So let's put all of you into here. Any more unassigned divisions? Yes, I do. But we won't worry about those, at least for now. Heading back to the US, the Dominion of Canada seems to be putting up a very powerful fight. We do want to go ahead and build up all of our infrastructure and push those to the top, because we do need to push as much supplies through to our troops as possible. Finally, here is our modern tank. It's going to take 155 days, and once we have this completed, all of our army experience will just be pummeled into this Type 61 modern tank. Now, what's nice is if we compare these two, usually I max out a ton of heavy tanks because this is the 1943 version, but obviously because we produce only light tanks, the 1941 version, they were obviously far superior, far cheaper, and obviously we had a lot more because they were quite a difference in production cost. 10 production cost versus 30. So imagine having 3 light tanks for every 1 heavy tank. Now, if we look at our heavy tanks, and then we compare our modern tanks, basically, our modern tanks have more breakthrough, which is absolutely what we need, more soft attack, they have more speed. So obviously right here, this is all very, very positive. They have about the same piercing. The production cost is cheaper, the same amount of reliability. The armor is the same. Wow. Heart attack is a little less, but obviously you get more hardiness and better defense. So overall, the Type 61 modern tank is going to be far superior. Because it requires less steel, I think we can obviously produce a lot very, very cheaply and very efficiently. But I do want my jet tactical bombers produced as quickly as possible, and obviously our jet fighters are being produced as well. I think eventually we don't need this much infantry equipment, so we are going to switch those up. Are we missing any motorized? Not really. We have 16.1 thousand. It looks like the infantry equipment is only about 1 day away from finally hitting a surplus, which has taken a very, very long time to achieve. Have we, actually, yes. All of our Marines have seemed to have done a phenomenal job. Let's make an additional... No, I lied. They haven't even moved. All 20 of you will now move to this division plan and activate. Okay, looking over at North Dakota and South Dakota, it looks like we are going to have to be building up infrastructure there. Everything is being constructed as quickly as possible, and it looks like we almost have level 10 infrastructure inside northern Canada. Can we continue to move across the river? I have no idea how this will look. It looks like we're winning in one area, but not the other. Can you move over? Moving across rivers is very, very challenging, especially if you don't have Marines, but obviously all of our Marines are not even doing any type of river crossings. They're just pushing through the desert because I need infantry, I need equipment. It would be cool if we could cut the enemy off here. I don't know if that's going to work, but these are light tanks and Marine. Yeah, not working at all. Yep, still pushing in here. We might be able to just cut them off inside Salt Lake City. And now effectively cutting off the east and the west. Nope, I lied. Still not working to our advantage. Everybody needs to push into Salt Lake City, and we might be able to secure this front. If you attack here, cut off any reinforcements, or better yet, take you off, and you go here. I don't even know anymore. It says they're going to arrive. That's very odd. Even though there's units in here, they, I guess, retreated. So now that we've effectively cut off the east and the west, we have combined our front lines. The idea is to remove this pocket of resistance as quickly and effectively as possible, and I suppose that means removing their ports, and then all of them will wither away and die. That is the plan. You need to take as much of the coastline as possible, and then march your way all the way to this base. Level 1 naval base isn't even that great. What type of city is this? It's not a city. It is a mountainous province. Looks like they are rushing. All of their units are taking attrition, which means these Marines should be able to mop the floor. The rest of these units are dying as well. I don't see any actual cities. There's a lot of troops here. I don't know if we can win this fight just yet. You all need to come this way. You all need to come this way. You go here. You go here. And then there. As this unit begins to get more organization, we are going to make another push. And I guess either these units are retreating or they're moving away. Can we fight 2 units? I don't know. This is obviously in the mountains as well. It's going to be taking negative 40% division attrition and only a 40% attack or a 60% penalty. I'm not really too sure. Which I guess that means the same thing. Alright, we have 500 army experience. I want to use all of it, but I do want to save it all for my modern tanks. But it's 127 days away. I guess we're just going to hold on to it. Not much to even do. Can we use some additional airplanes? Yes, we can. Let's send over about 500 fighters. All of you will go to the southwest and try your best at securing this air base, or at least this air division or air zone, I guess. Type 1 mechanized have finally been constructed. Let's now work at Type 2 mechanized. They are going to require a lot of steel, which is a little saddening. All of these pockets of U.S. troops are going to be removed from the game. You are moving in. And everybody is doing very, very well. Like I said, I am going to have to reorganize these lines. And I would like this naval air base inside Utah. Looks like there's 600 planes here. 500 army experience. I hate looking at it and not being able to use it. But it looks like we're going to be using it in about 100 days. All of you move on in. Remove whatever threat there is. And there they go. Surprisingly, they still don't have the attrition symbol. I'm guessing they have logistics companies or something along those lines. Or maybe they have some sort of supplies, you know, land doctrine, where they don't necessarily lose supplies that often. Well, we have managed to cut our way through. Can we build additional infrastructure anywhere? In North Dakota, yes, we can build it in a lot of places. I'm wasting so many resources building up infrastructure in the U.S., especially like here in Oregon. Like, we probably don't need it anymore. But, I don't know, I guess it's building because we have nothing better to do. And what I also want to point out is we're taking more civilian factories as well. So, it's not really all that bad. Let's take all of our Marines, set up a new offensive line. Let's actually delete this. Set up a new offensive line. And your goal is to make your way all the way to the coast, secure the Mississippi, and I guess even cross the Mississippi. And that will be your new plan. Now, these are only 20 units, so they can't necessarily do all that much, while all 72 of you are going to delete these front lines, delete these offensive lines, delete this front line, create a brand new front line again, which seems to have stopped. Okay, this isn't what I was planning. Can we do something like this? Kind of. It says 33 divisions are on that line. I don't need them all the way down here. Well, I guess it's really not all that bad. Your goal is to push your way, I guess, to Washington, D.C. And I'm guessing once Washington, D.C. falls, and obviously all of Texas, they should capitulate without us having to take New York or Boston. Looking at our construction, we are basically building industry, infrastructure, and radios in Montana, or better yet, radar. It does have a lot of, you know, ability. It does have a lot of sight, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Once we move into Louisiana, we'll probably build one there as well. And like I said, we have 327 actual military factories. The more we accumulate, they are going to be put towards jet tactical bombers. It looks like we're only getting about one a week. Oh, that changed drastically. We're now getting about 5 a week. It was 4 a month. As the efficiency improves, the more we will obtain. And actually, are these guys even put here? 30 divisions, 30 divisions. It looks like we actually did lose 1 mechanized, so not bad. You know, obviously seeing that we took over most of you. We still are on aggressively execute, and I guess let's activate when we're ready to go. Technically, we are activated. All 66 of these units aren't mine, or at least most of them are not. All of these unassigned divisions can go into this teal group. None of them were mine anyway. And all of these units can go into this group. 103. That is quite a lot. I highly doubt that even if the USSR, or excuse me, even if the German Reich did invade us, which would probably not happen, we would probably be able to defend them off. But our number one priority is going to be to build our modern tanks and our heavy tanks. What are we missing? We're still missing some light tanks. We finally have a surplus of infantry equipment. Finally have a massive surplus of motorized. Like I said, we aren't going to worry about artillery. It is going to go away in time. I'm wondering, can we put artillery on these actual mechanized? Yes, we can. You know what? Let's do that. I get that this will slow them down substantially. How much soft attack? 43. How many are we going to lose? Where is the artillery? 96. And that doesn't make any sense at all, but we will save this. Why do you not have... Am I looking at the right groups? You are the American group. And I need to look at the American group. Here we are. This is what I've been using. Let's add on some artillery, because I do want to get rid of all of this excess. I have now gone from 15,000 down to 8.4 thousand. Now the idea is obviously to put this to good use. It's going to give us a substantial amount of soft attack. I never actually checked. We have 357 soft attack, now moving up to plus 43, so it's not a bad amount. Almost, I would say, about 10% more soft attack per artillery, and it's only one unit. But obviously the reason why I was hesitant of adding that artillery before is it is very, very heavy, which obviously means it's going to be very hard to pull that along, which is why I invested in rocket artillery rather than, you know, just regular artillery itself. Okay, we have a lot of oil, a lot of rubber, a lot of aluminum now, but we now need more free military factories, which I guess was a blessing, because we now have them. Can we build modern tanks? Not yet. So I guess in the meantime, we are going to be building up light tanks Mach 1. And we are going to need mechanized sometime soon. Well, it looks like our carriers are coming along nicely. I guess while we have the naval dockyards and the steel, maybe even try to make, I don't know, 2 more light cruisers. They aren't very expensive. Where are you? Light Cruiser 4. And I think what we'll do is we will create 4 and create 4. So technically we'll have 8 in total. All of you will go to Hiroshima and Hiroshima. Now the idea is obviously to put our naval dockyards to good use. Once all of these are completed, I highly doubt I'll be building any more actual naval vessels for the time being. And the idea is once we take over the Dominion of Canada and the US, I believe the German Reich won't be able to end World War II until the invasion of the UK. So that means if I have all of this territory that is occupied, I could throw down a bunch of military police regiments just anywhere and everywhere. And I could essentially have all of their factories, all of their resources. And all I would need to do is just focus them on heavy tanks, and we could really annihilate anyone and everything. At least I hope so. That's the plan. We still have a massive surplus of naval bombers level 2, not level 3. And obviously, we have, we have naval bombers and carrier naval bombers. We aren't even making that many, only about 1 a day. And they are going to get shot down eventually. But I don't necessarily want to allocate more resources to, I guess, a dying plane. Obviously, it doesn't have the attack that we need, and we pretty much control the seas as well, so it doesn't necessarily matter. Jet tactical bombers have a far superior range, which makes them ideal. Looks like Norway is finally being invaded by nationalist Spain. I'm wondering why they never invaded through northern Norway. I don't really see any type of land forts or anything of the like. Looking at the US, we seem to have stopped pushing once again. Can everybody? Well, we've activated, we're on aggressively push. I don't know. I guess it is what it is. We have a surplus of units. It's just taking far longer than we anticipated. I see all of these yellow dots, which I don't like. It's basically supply issues, which I'm guessing will need to improve the supply in these locations. More infrastructure means more supply. Everything will flow in from Alaska and California, giving all of our units, they will essentially not take attrition, which is obviously exactly what we need. The US is going to fall very, very soon. We have a 51% towards capitulation, so they are more than half of the way there. But I guess our issue, this isn't even the Mississippi River. We are stuck on a bit and piece of the Mississippi River, which obviously it starts in the Mississippi and then it actually goes all throughout the central US here. But because we can't cross this river, we are having some issues. And it looks like they've created some forts. Level 1 forts in Minnesota. We'll see how well those last. We have 30 units here. Let's do something with them. If I could somehow take this area, I could effectively cut off all of these units. I have no idea how well this will work, or if at all. Looks like we're moving very, very slowly. Yeah, I could effectively cut off all of these units. There doesn't seem to be any major towns. No naval ports, obviously. We do have a town here. Manitoba. How long until you arrive? 7 days. Canada is so large. Okay, this unit needs to die. It is a light tank division, but obviously because it's cut off, it is going to be taking some damage over time, and it will not be able to resupply. So any damage we do is going to be permanent, and it looks like we actually are about to overwhelm it very easily. That rocket artillery and the artillery itself have proven to be more than useful. Are we finally running out of artillery? Not yet, but we're losing 138 a day rather than 12. So now we're down to 7.4 thousand, and now we've lost 106. But because we aren't producing any more, we are expecting to eventually use out all of our stores. Have you arrived? Not yet. It says it's going to be 18 hours. And it looks like the US has continued to push. Was not really expecting that. And I do want to keep one person here and one person here. That way we can protect everything we've conquered. Alright, we are pushing in from pretty much every side. I do want to put in more planes inside the Midwest, but I'm going to need some additional... Looks like I have the Oklahoma Air Base. Yeah, I could push them in from this area. Imagine if I had use of my jet tactical bombers. This would make everything a lot easier. I only have about 92. I guess we could try to get 100 and put those in, and then finally use our jet fighters as well. Let's put in about 200 jet fighters. Or, I guess 400, because we have that many. And now all of you are going to close air support and air superiority over the Midwest. That's actually not nearly as much as I thought it would be. And I do want a new air base, which I don't see any. And better radar might not be a bad idea either. I guess we'll build it once we get to Iowa or Missouri. What have I done? Everybody is still pushing. You can see all of the remnants of our battle plan. We have somehow stopped pushing. Or better yet, we're pushing, but it says it's going to be 5 days. I don't know if I like that. We still have 71 units. Everybody seems to be pushing except for Canada itself. Our Marines are still pushing as well, all of their light tanks. How long until we have our modern tank? 44 days, and then we are going to do nothing but push those out. And I guess the next research opportunity we have, I definitely want to improve my military police. Wow, it's 1946 and we don't have any of these. I'm gonna obviously need maintenance companies. I'm gonna need military police first. And that way, once I have all of these factories, we're not going to have to worry about any of the resistance growth. But let's build a few more. And finally... Did you ever move? It doesn't look like it. We obviously garrisoned you. All 10 of you should eventually move over. I wonder if they will. Can this guy... Yep, he's going to a port, I think. Maybe not. Okay, well, we have a bunch of light cruisers that haven't really been used. All of these units are moving in as well. And all we want to do is just cut off everything we can. All 17 of you have seemed to have stopped. Another offensive line. Activate when you are ready to go. This is an absolute slugfest, but we are obviously doing very, very well. All of our cavalry division, military police are finally in the area. It looks like the resistance growth is going to die down eventually, but it would be nice to have additional bits and pieces of military police gear, which I actually should have a lot of. I have 2.8 thousand. It is drastically reducing that number as the days go by. It should only last for about 28 more days. So maybe pushing through sooner rather than later might not be such a bad idea. Let's once again build up some light tanks Mach 2. All of those will be converted in time. Still waiting on these light cruisers to be constructed. And I guess, I wonder. Supposedly the modern tanks have less steel consumption than these light tanks. I didn't know that. That's actually very odd. So now we're going to save a ton of steel when we switch over. And obviously the damaged factories aren't using any resources at all. It's the 24th of December, 1945. Let's push our way, which I believe this town... the name is getting away from me. I don't even see the town name. Okay, our new goal is to obviously push towards... Do we have Dallas yet? Yes, we do. Okay, well, the victory points should be rolling in. We went from 51% to 62%. And then, obviously, once we take Chicago, we're 30 victory points, and then Detroit worth 20, we are going to be doing very, very well. Canada should fall any day now. All we need to do is just take probably Ontario, and then they're going to fall and get removed. Research slot available once again. Now, it would make the most sense to improve the agility of our fighters and heavy fighters, but I think what we are going to do is actually get better maintenance companies, because I have nothing better to unlock. We are working on the atomic research. This was 410 days, and obviously we do want nuclear warheads to use against the German Reich. Ooh, the atomic bombing of the greater London area. So it looks like the German Reich does have atomic bombs, and we do not, so we are behind. Here are some new light tanks. I have 500 experience. I do want to use that as quickly as I can. Are we building additional military police? Yes, we are. Do we want to add more cavalry to all of these military police? We would get more suppression, which would be very, very useful. And the idea is to just secure up as many factories as we can get our hands on. Chicago is almost ours. All of Texas is ours. Let's move all of you to Texas. And then they should have the same plan. Yes, they do. They now only lack 1.3% of all of the Southwest. And I guess, where are my planes in the Midwest? None. We have no planes over here, so that needs to change. Do we see any actual air bases? I see a plane. I thought that was an air base, but it's not. Looking at strategic air map mode, I don't really see any air bases that we could get a hold of. It looks like we are obviously sending people over to the, the Midwest, and it looks like we're losing some bombers from time to time. But it would be much, much easier and more efficient if I built an air base inside the Southwest. How big is the zone? This is the centralized area, so I guess if I could cross this river, we could probably build one inside St. Louis, or next to it. Can we build one inside, well, maybe in Missouri might not be such a bad idea. Let's build up, this is an air base, build one up as much as possible. And I guess building up a radar station might not be that bad either. Then we have one in Montana, and then we have one in St. Louis, or the Missouri area. And it'd be nice to finally get that air base up and running as quickly as possible. I do want St. Louis. Is this going to be hard to take? I have no idea. Why are we having such a hard time pushing? All 17 of you actually should go like this, and they seem to have stopped pushing altogether. But it'd be easier if we could cut off all of these units. We would do very, very well. Well, thank you all so much for joining me. I am going to have to put a cut in this episode. I hope you all have an awesome day, and I will see you in our next adventure.